Simon's now waiting in the cube with Dr. Mary for Body Talk.
Absolutely. Our cube doctor, Mary, is back with us this week after a few weeks off. But before we go any further, we've actually got some moose impression tips here from our cubists today. This is my impression of a moose. Like that. Would you like to take it away, chaps? Because they were giving me a hard time just now about this, saying mine wasn't quite on. Now, this week, we're talking about growing. And one of the most noticeable things about the human body is the big difference there can be in height between people who are the same age. Gillian, Stephanie and Amanda, they're all 14 years old. Stand up, let's see the difference in height. God, it's quite a difference, really. How tall are you, Stephanie?
5'8".
How tall are you?
5'3".
And you?
5'1".
There's quite a lot of difference there. OK, you can sit down now. Is it normal to vary so much in height from one age group?
Yes. In any age group, you'll probably get, even within the same sex, about a 10-inch range of height.
Yes.
So someone who's 14 can be anything between 4'9" and 5'7", 5'8", and be entirely normal.
What? Why? Why?
It's a mixture of how tall your parents are, which gives you your inherited characteristics,
Yes.
the amount of a thing called growth hormone that you produce, which determines the speed at which you grow, and also things to do with your diet, obviously, or whether you've been ill during your life, because that would slow things down.
Because my dad's quite tall, I've sort of been quite tall. Now, you've got loads of questions that you want to ask about height. Gillian, you want to fire away?
Do all tall people have large feet and small people have small feet?
Mostly that's the case, yes. But the other thing to remember about your feet is that they're actually the fastest growing bit of your body, and that not only do they grow fast early on, but they stop growing earliest. So your feet stop growing when you're about 12. Because lots of 12-year-olds think, oh my God, I've got size 6 feet, and if they carry on growing until I'm about 18, they're going to be about size 14. But they won't, they'll probably just stay at about size 6 or size 6.5.
So Fidget Facts is only a couple of years old. What size feet have you got, Fidge? 24. Yes, look at those. That's absolutely incredible.
Challenge to Doc Martens.
Maybe they'll grow. Right, Stephanie, you've got a question.
Do taller people have bigger appetites?
They do, because if you've actually you're taller, there's more of you, so you need more energy from your food to actually support the mass you've already got. Yeah. And the other thing is that if you're tall, that usually means at your age that you are growing faster, so you'll need extra energy for the growth as well. So if you've got a big appetite, it's not that you're greedy, it's just that you need more to eat.
Have you got a big appetite, Stephanie?
Yeah, my mum's always saying cut down. She's always saying too fat.
But is it because you just is it because you feel hungry all the time, or is it just out of habit?
I just feel hungry all the time. But I'm trying to cut down now. So.
Oh, but we did check out your weight, didn't we, before we came on the programme on one of the charts, and we found that we weren't actually overweight anyway. So.
Oh, right, fine. Amanda, you've got a question. You better far away with it.
Why do some people not grow as tall as others?
As I was saying before to Simon, it's a combination of having small parents and not producing as much of the growth hormone that produces acceleration in growth. And sometimes it might have been because you've been unwell or because you've not been fed very well. So if some racers who have been poor, for example, the Japanese a while ago, were small, but now they're eating a more adequate diet, then they're actually growing to the same sort of height as we are.
Averagely heighted. Now, you've got a wall chart here.
Yep.
And has this got sort of like average height that you can expect to be at certain ages?
Yeah, that I've marked. I'll show you.
Show us what it is.
What I've marked on, because the girls are 14, is the sort of height you'd expect for a 14-year-old girl. So that's between 4'9" here and 5'7" there. So we can measure the girls.
Okay then.
Measure them up against. See how you
you
fit in. Right. So you're about 5'1", yes. So you're well in the middle of the range.
More or less the average height, really.
Yeah, more or less the average height. The average height might be a bit sort of 5'3"-ish, sort of middle of that range.
Let's just see how Stephanie compares. Mind your mic. Mind you don't. Sort of, there you go. Because you're quite a strapping.
Oh, she's a big tall girl, yeah.
Lady, aren't you?
So Stephanie's 5'8", so she's quite tall. She'll come in the sort of the top 3% of girls of her age for height.
Right, fine. And what would just Gillian, just go in, just have a quick look and see if your mic will just get over there. It's all right. It won't. Don't worry about it.
Right. So you're coming in about 5'3", 4, so I would guess you're Miss Average for your age.
Yeah, that's quite good. Come and sit down. We've got time for another quick question from you, Gillian. You've got another one?
Yeah. Does smoking affect your health?
Affect your height? Yes, it does, because smoking does two nasty things to you. First of all, it decreases your appetite, so you eat less, so you'll tend to become a sort of very skinny specimen. And the other thing, it means that you absorb less of your food from your stomach, just because it puts this tar all around the inside of your stomach. Nasty habits.
Oh, yes, I wouldn't smoke anyway. Well, thanks very much for your questions. Thanks very much for coming in. We'll be seeing Mary later on, where she'll be answering some of your letters. During the break, and I think I'll check what... Hello, welcome back. On Cool Cube this week, we're looking at drinking alcohol, and we've got our alcohol expert, Donna McLaughlin, with us again. She's going to answer some questions from our Cool Cubists, Gillian and Stephanie. But before we actually ask you questions, ask you, I mean, have you ever tried alcohol, Stephanie?
Yeah, I have it like at parties and at weekends. We usually have a bit of wine with our evening meal, things like that.
Do you like it? What about you, Gillian? Have you tried it?
I just have it like at Christmas and special occasions with the family.
Do you enjoy it just like every now and again like that?
Yeah, it's okay, but you know when you're tasting wine, it all tingles like down your back.
It's a good way of describing it, actually. Now, I know you've got some questions for Donna, so you better get on with them.
If you drink alcohol as a child, does it affect your health as you get older?
Well, it depends how much you drink. Obviously, if you're only going to drink a little bit like you do on special occasions, then it's not going to affect your health in the long term. But on the telephone call, we heard about the man who started drinking when he was young and enjoyed it, but kept on drinking and carried on drinking, and then he had lots of problems later on, and it was his health that affected him, so he went for help. So if you carry on drinking, then yes, it will affect your health.
Yes, it is dangerous. And it's the addiction, I suppose, as much as anything else. It's the actual need, the dependency on it.
Yes.
Gillian, you've got a question.
Why is it that an adult man's limit is 6 units a day and a woman's only 4?
That's right. Well, women aren't supposed to drink as much as men because women actually have more fat than men, and so the alcohol will affect them more. So we always say to women, you should drink less than men. And women who are pregnant shouldn't drink as well because the actual alcohol can affect the baby as well. So women who are pregnant shouldn't drink.
Right, sound advice. Stephanie?
Which parts of the body does alcohol affect first?
Right, well, when you drink alcohol, it goes down into your stomach, and then from your stomach it goes into the blood and then goes to the brain. So it's actually the brain that is affected by the alcohol. Now, in your brain, you've got a section which the alcohol will affect, and it changes the way that you behave. It might change the decisions you make. It makes you more giddy, makes you do things that normally you wouldn't do. And it's because the alcohol is affecting that part of the brain that normally is a very careful part of the brain.
Yeah, right. Gillian, you had a bit of an experience with alcohol when you were younger. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, when I was 2 and my older brother was 4, he got a bottle of Cinzano out of the wine rack and he tasted it and he didn't like it, so he gave it to me and I drank half of it.
Half a bottle of Cinzano?
And then when my mum got up out of bed, she couldn't understand, you know, why I couldn't stand up or walk or anything. And my brother saw I come toddling out of the bedroom with this half a bottle of Cinzano. So she rang an ambulance and I was like, got rushed to hospital. I was in hospital about a week. And she said, you know, she come visiting me. I was playing out on the hospital grounds and I couldn't stand up or walk. I was just staggering about everywhere.
Staggering? Is that typical?
That's a very common problem. Every year we see 4 die because they've tried and they've consumed too much alcohol. Had alcohol, and that's when they've got a bottle of spirits. That the alcohol, but it will affect. Happen. 4 children dying each.
Your questions.
leave it up to them. What's the first step?
Well, you add one of these mixes and then you add
So you
water.
get the packet of dye, and this one's a navy. In fact, we're using an orange. Next step after that.
And then you add 4 tablespoons of salt.
4 tablespoons. Okay, you can count them off. In fact, tie-dye is from an ancient Chinese method, so it just shows there's nothing really new under the...
Well, did you know that a survey has shown that 13 and 14-year-olds rate lager ads as the adverts they like most on TV? Now, the companies make alcoholic drinks. They spend a lot of money on advertising, trying to get adults to buy their drinks. But what do they think about young people drinking? Now, we've got George Winstanley on the phone, who's from the drinks industry. Let's press that. Hello, George. Welcome to the Cool Q.
Thank you.
Now, we're talking about alcohol. Now, what restrictions are there on drinks companies when it comes to advertising on television?
Well, they're quite strict, if I may say so. They, first of all, they're not allowed to show an advertisement, and it's been screened by a special committee of the IBA. And then there are various rules which...
Receptive from a young adult point of view. I mean, what do you think about the adverts on telly for drinks? Gillian?
They're funny. Them are the sort of adverts that, you know, stick in your mind. So, like, if you're going around a supermarket and you see some, like, cans of lager, the catchphrase from the advert sticks in your mind.
Right. Donna, what's a good rule to follow if you're sort of underage, or follow when it comes to drinking generally?
I think young children should be very careful about drinking. I think the odd drink every now and again on special occasions, maybe watered down with lemonade, is okay. But generally, when you get older, that's the time to drink.
Right. But wait, if you want to look cool at a party and everybody's drinking, what can you do?
All right. Well, we have here alternatives to alcohol, which are alcohol-free cocktails.
Oh, right.
Similar to alcohol cocktails, except they don't contain alcohol. Fruit juices, lemonades, pineapples, grapefruits.
Let's have a
Very
taste of
tasty.
some of them. Have they got names or anything? Or are they just...
That's called Grapefruit Crush, and this one is Blue Lagoon. Do you want to try them?
Actually, they look very sort of exotic, and they look like they should be very alcoholic, but
Cheers.
they're not. Which is really good. Now, we've got some of these to give away as well, which is where they come from. If you want to learn how to make these drinks at home, we're giving away 2 free copies of this book to the Cool Cubists who can answer the following question. Is alcohol a drug? Is alcohol a drug? If you've been watching the programme, you know the answer to that. Now, I'll give you the address in a minute. If you have any ideas for Cube Care or anything that you're interested in or that you feel strongly about, we'd love to hear from you. Write to us at Cube Care, Cool Cube, P.O. Box 321, the Old School, Manchester, M60 3AA. Or you can phone us on 061 815 9899. Make sure it's okay to use a phone, though, because we're in Manchester. You could also fax us your ideas, and if you're lucky enough to be able to use a fax machine, our fax number is 061 839 2939. Thank you very much for coming in and talking about. Thank you very much for coming in and talking about alcohol. I think these are absolutely delicious. I'm going to try, next time I go to a party, I think I might get into a bit of a non-alcoholic cocktails myself. But right now, we're going to Violet for another round of Square Dare.